Appreciate that interesting introduction. Thank you, Bill. I know what you feared last summer. There is no doubt about it. You know, fear is one of those things that is constantly speaking to us. Maybe a little bit of fear when you come to this platform and you start thinking about what you're going to say and how you're going to say it or how you're going to connect with your audience. You know, this past weekend, we memorialized and remembered a group of men who really embraced some fear. They stormed Normandy Beach. Can you imagine being in those planes about to jump down into enemy territory, or in those boats that are about to crash the beaches? They embraced their fear. And they won a huge victory for the world, right? There's another kind of fear that we face too. We've thought about over the last month or so. Huge tornado rocked the southern part of Oklahoma City. Some of us, it affected very personally. Others of us, or all of us at least, drove through the chaos and the destruction and saw people who were left homeless in a matter of minutes. And then there's our good friend, the Toastmaster platform. You know, every time you come up here, you embrace and face the number one fear in the world: public speaking. There's this great book called Feel the Fear and Do It. And in this book, Dr. Jeffries talks about 3 levels of fear. And they're really divided into 2 areas when you look at level 1. Level 1 talks about a fear of what could happen to me. You know, you could be caught in a tornado. We've all sensed that fear. We live in Oklahoma. Swirling winds and the things that are shaking your house. You know, getting down into the cellar in time if you have a cellar. That's something that could happen to us. We could get sick. Last fall, I was very sick. I was diagnosed with a huge spleen of about 2.5 times the size it should be. They were scared that I had lymphoma. They did bone marrow biopsies on me, liver biopsies on me, and they were pretty certain that I had lymphoma, but it was limited to my spleen. I was scared of what could happen to me. It's a level 1 fear, being scared of what could happen to you. Another type of level 1 fear is being what you might be forced to do. You might be forced to make a decision. You might be forced to raise your hand and say, I'll be the president of this Toastmasters group, right? Or I'll be the president, or I'll be the vice president of education in this group. That's a fear that you might not be, you're not embracing because you won't raise your hand, because it's a decision of something that you have to make. So level 1 fear are things that we might have to do, or things that could happen to us. But then there's a deeper level of fear, and that's level 2 fear. Level 2 fear is about our ego. Everyone have an ego? That pride thing, that personal identity thing that's at risk if something happens to us or we're forced to make a decision. That ego that tells us, oh, Bill, you might fail at that. You better be careful. You might be embarrassed. Don't ask that good-looking girl Amber out on a date, because she might say no and reject you. That wouldn't be good, would it? That fear of failure, that you're not going to step out and start your own business. You're not going to chase after your dreams because it might go bankrupt and it might not work out for you. You know, those are level 2 fears, of that fear of rejection, that fear of embarrassment, that fear of failure. But see, I know really what you feared last summer. I really, truly know, without knowing you, I know what you feared last summer. It goes down to this core fear that says you're scared that you can't handle it. You can't handle the embarrassment. You can't handle the rejection. You can't handle the failure. You can't handle a leadership position. You can't handle starting your own business. You can't handle facing death and being sick with cancer. The core of all of our fears is the sense that we can't handle it. The truth is, though, that we can. We can't handle it. And there's 3 important steps to remember when you face your fear. Number 1, is that you need to embrace your fear. Take time when you are feeling this sense of fear to ask yourself the question, what am I scared about? On a level 1 basis, am I scared about something I'm going to be forced to do possibly? Or am I scared about what's going to happen to me? Then go down to a second level and understand your fear. Okay, am I fear of failure? Or is it a fear of rejection? And then at that simple base level, remind yourself that all fear is based on this sense that I can't handle it. Well, how can you handle it then? Toastmasters is a great way to handle it because we value personal development. What does that mean? That means you need to grow. Think about what you're trying to do. Think about what you're trying to accomplish and develop in that way. Embrace the fear and grow in those areas that say, you know what, I'm not certain I can start my own business, but you know what, I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow and I'm going to do what I can to be successful in that area. Then there's a third thing you can do. A mentor of mine, Paul Martinelli, is very fond of saying this, and I want to encourage all of you to do this. You know what you do? You do it scared. The men that attacked Normandy Beach, you know what they did? They did it scared. See, I know what you feared last summer. My encouragement to you is to do it scared. Mr. Toastmaster.